西
西
西些，
些，
请帮我点咖啡。
请帮我点咖啡。Please help me order coffee. So, nice thing about this construction is you have, well, there's a few different ways to view it. You've got a full sentence as the object of help. Please help. So it's implied you, help me, order coffee. And I order coffee is in that as a complete sentence, but like a kernel. It sounds a bit odd on its own, but it expresses the subject and verb and object. Or, 请帮我, please help me. And then you have this other part of it sort of hanging out there as some sort of other thing.
咖
帮我. That's sometimes called like a pivot construction, where it's this 我 is the object of the first verb preceding it, and the subject of the following clause there. So,
东西
请问这些一共多少钱？
请问这些一共多少钱? First part is a way of saying, excuse me, may I please ask? The topic of the main sentence here, 这些, these few things. Now it's going to be a question. And the question part is 多少钱, how much money, so how much are? 这些 means these few. 一共 is left over to translate total. All together. A bit windy. Well, many months ago, they used to sort of get back to you at Duolingo. They took your suggestion. Maybe they're swamped. Oh, let's check.
请帮我买一些东西。
Yiddish. Said it was 99% yesterday.
请帮我买一些东西。
Said that for a while. But 请帮我 please help me to buy a few things. Buy a few things. Now in English it's got to be me. We can't say please help I buy a few things. There's no such distinction in Chinese grammar. However, it's the same word 我 here. Please help me buy a few things. 东 means the east.
东
东西
东西
means things. 些
些
few. 西 is the west.
西
奶
奶
word for milk. 碗
碗
东西
东西
些
些
西
东西西
多
多
物
物
些
些
我们想买东西。
我们想买东西 want to buy things, we want to go shopping.
请问这些一共多少钱？
请问 alright, silly me. Call this stuff up. So for inputting Chinese using this graphic system here, if you take the link, you can type along with me and get your hands virtually on some Chinese characters. And build it up bit by bit, as we'll see.
请问这些一共多少钱？
So we can see it sort of being constructed, or the recall list starts here in this field, and here I'm inputting it. Qing, Q, M, B there. So Q is the upper portion on the right. It involves two horizontal, one vertical. But this one continues with M, straight line, B, this enclosure below. 1 A N R to ask.
请问这些一共多少钱？
这些一共 the verbless one. 这些 these few. Y Y M R. 写 is going to be so first stroke on top, there's a Y stroke, and it ends with a P. And below mm. 些这些
请问这些一共多少钱？
共多少钱？ E, simplest one there is. Letter M to get E, meaning one. 一共 TC. 多少钱 NI. That double figure. It's the same keystrokes repeated. The N for the outer two strokes and the I for the dot. 多少 is predicted. 钱 CII.
请问这些一共多少钱？
How much money is this all together? Now we're going to simplify this button. Paste that. So the first bit isn't part of the core sentence, really. So add it on. Our topic, 这些, and the comment is a question with no verb in it, just all together, how much money?
我很忙，请帮我。
很忙，请帮我. I'm very busy, or just I'm busy. Please help me. 请帮我. Here, 我 is that end, the one at the end, clearly the object of the verb. Please help me.
这些鱼非常贵。
这些鱼 topic, these fish. And we know it's plural from the 些 part, more than one. 非常贵 are really expensive. 贵 precious. 非常 extraordinary.
你想买什么东西？
你想买什么东西 You want to buy what thing? What do you want to buy?
我的妈妈想买一些东西。
我的妈妈想买一些东西。Mom wants to buy a few things.
请问这些一共多少钱？
请问这些一共多少钱 Excuse me. It's getting permission to ask. 这些 How much are these? And the nice thing about 些 is it can be used of any class of object, just in the meaning small amount, greater than one. But it's syntactically one of those measure words. Classifier. So welcome back to Lango Institute. I'm your VerbAlly, warming up with a little bit of Chinese, but here our theme today for this stream is going to be conlangs. So let's get right into it. We just started 2 days ago, I think. High Valyrian, which was created for Game of Thrones. So, oh good, Levi's here. Hi Levi. Oh hi Mark. Do interrupt me with all kinds of questions, anything at all. Glad you could make it. Basics of High Valyrian.
Abrixi.
Abri was woman, and Ixi, if I recall, you are. Okay, cool. High Valyrian. Abri. It might be a specifically female form, I'll put women. And then Ixi, we are. And let's review. What we learned if I search for Valyrian. Abri Ixi. It's the only instance, huh? Okay. Ixi, we are going to collect forms of this be verb.
Kirini ixi.
So we are something. Is it small? Kirini?
Kirini.
And the R sounds long, trilled like the Spanish double one, except this one is voiceless.
Kirini iksi.
Kirini.
Kirini iksi.
Kirini. Glad. Happy.
Rini iksi.
Ye.
Rini.
Ye girls. Just for convenience, I'm going to use two symbols for the nya, N, and then a tilde on its own. Girls. So we could have an E, potentially, E suffix marking plural. 2 is not much to build on, but it's, keep an eye out for it.
Rini iksi.
Are girls. Rini iksi. Verb final so far.
Vali iksi.
Vali.
Vali.
Right. Vali. Man. We are man.
Azantysiksat.
Azantysyksat.
Azantysiksat.
Tysiksat.
Azantysy. Azantysy. Iksat.
Plural U. Iksat. So maybe Ix is the plural root. It looked like it was a sa root, that first lesson, for meaning be. Here it looks like a different type of thing. Iksat, U, plural, R. One way I like to abbreviate that is U and U for more than one U. U plural. Iksat. Ah, the T is there. And here at the, I think that mark is showing length, and I'm getting my closest convenient equivalent as a following character there. You are swordsman.
Taubisi.
Sure. Yeah, I can't find it. Let's look for how. I remember collecting him. Was taking pretty copious notes here the other day. There we go. Good question. Yeah, worth a hunt. I've got I am, you are, X is. To be. Ixan, plural ixi, we are. Let's clean this up a bit. Oh, that's no good. That's that. Oh. Okay. Here's what we've got of be. Ixan, I am. Ixa, you are. Issa, X is. X for just third person indeterminate gender. Doesn't seem to be marked in the verb. We don't know. Ixi, we are. Ixat. So it looks like a root or a stem ix mostly, except for issa is. Interesting. Don't know anything quite like that from other languages offhand.
Taubisi.
B looks like boys. Taoba, I believe, was the singular. Yep. Taob. So I'm using the hyphen for what we call a morpheme boundary, where one meaningful part ends and the next begins. Boys. will be isi. Is that missing? Third plural, I betcha.
Isi.
Boys. So it's two words, boys, and the verb shows they are. That third person meaning. They boys.
Taubisi.
B is C. They are boys. Let's set that in stone. They are. And another way I might write this would be XX for plural. Single X singular. Here I might just do U to save a little time and space. Taubi isi. So those rhyme nicely with the plural. Iksi isi. So you could call it stem alternation. Let's say the verb stem ends after the S in each case. And we've got either suppletion, two different roots, or just related forms KS. In 2 out of 3 cases, replaced by SS. You could have a morpheme boundary here too. That would take care of it. But harder to give these morpheme specific functions if you do it that way.
Taubisi. Abriksi.
Abri, that means women. Yes. Iksi is we are. Abri iksi, we are women. So I'm gonna just, try not to look for a bit. But it's nice that it shows. Nice that it still shows up on the stream, the little notepad. So there's no pronoun in these. Looks like not. Maybe you've got, maybe you've got fusion of the pronoun in the verb, but it's like a pro drop.
Nagesi.
Nagesi. Women something. Nagesi.
Nagesi.
What other form did we see? Nages. Just not a good finder.
Nagesi. Nagesi.
Sweating. Maybe if I search for sweat, I feel like it's there, it's just not actually looking for the thing. Wrap around. There we go. Huh. Alright, we had Nages, and now we're seeing Nagesi. I'm just going to copy this older one and put our new forms next to it. This is the verb sweat. Nages, third person, third singular, so 3S. And this one, Nagesi. You sweat. No, this one is they sweat, rather, not you. Third plural.
Nyuhi taubi kirinisi.
Nyuhi taubi kirinis. Isi, they are boys. Kirini was happy, glad boys. Happy boys.
Nyuhi.
Alright, probably there's a syntactic break here after the first two words. My boys, our boys. Is it my? Yeah. Kirini are glad. Isi. Nyuhi taubi kirini isi.
Nyuhi taubi kirinisi. Onteseisi. Ontesse.
Interesting. Not an E in this one, but an E, plural. Could be a different gender of a noun. They are birds.
Kepiksat.
Was you plural. Kepi. Fathers. You are fathers.
Taubilirisi.
Boys is there in taubi. And the verb
Taubi.
third plural, they.
Lirisi.
Not what I was thinking. They have boys. I could say boys smile. That's it. Lir. Okay. Like delirious would be good. What was the form liris? With the verb root. Lir. Smile. I use caps for the root. Think of delirious. The good nights are sweating. Good night. Is it going to be adjective noun? Why not? So nights was avantuksu or something. Azantusu. Suri azantusu. Su azantusu. Are sweating. Ganesi, right? Nagesi. Nagesi. Suri azantusi. Tusi, yeah. It sounded like an E. Nope. In that other sentence, but the E was in the following verb. The birds are sleeping. Hontese was plural. Hontese. Idrusi are sleeping. Idrusi. So the C is probably the suffix there. I'll use a dot for now. That's plural sleeping. XX sleep. Hontese idrusi. Long. Idru. Hola. Idrusi. Oh, sorry, that camera. Hello, welcome. So today, this stream is devoted to conlangs. We're working on High Valyrian now, our first for the evening. And then we'll go on, I don't know yet which order, but we're going to do, what's the word? Esperanto, created in the late 1800s. Esperanto, and Klingon is the other that's available here. So let's round this one out.
Muni kepi vaedis.
Muni kepi vaedis. That was sing, that verb. Kepi, plural for fathers. This one has a long E at the end, unlike the other plurals. Kepi, fathers. Muni, my, or what?
Muni. Kepi.
Okay, mothers, fathers. Maybe they, well, let's put both. We could say parents, I suppose. Mothers and fathers. They sing. Muni, mothers. N with tilde, muni. That's the standard plural suffix. Mothers.
Tauvavala syrisi.
That's cool. Never tried to make one myself. I just treat it like any other language as a system to be understood and used.
Tauba syrisi.
Ultimately, have distinctions in sounds.
Tauba.
Boy. Vala.
Vala.
Vali, men. Vala, long. Man. Boy and man. Suri, isi, third plural. They are good. The boy and the man are good.
Rinya abrakirinisi.
Nice long trilled R sounds here.
Rinya abrakirinisi.
Iris. Please share your questions. Yeah, that's why I'm here. Rinya abra kirini isi. They are glad. Okay, singular abra for woman.
Abra.
Rinya. Don't recall.
Rinya.
Girl and the woman, they are glad. So, no word for and here, just these two singular nouns are to be understood as a conjoined phrase, and then the verb naturally is plural, or logically, I should say.
Ikirini.
Adjective and the verb are marked plural because it's a conjoined subject too.
Abrivali kirinisi.
Abrivali kirini isi, but okay. Working on simple conlang for my friend, but if I wanted to place it onto Duolingo, what would be some requirements? Put a conlang there. There can be only one contributor. I don't know. I've never been involved with that part of Duolingo. Never coordinated or worked on the development of the thing. I'm afraid I don't know that one. Abrivali, women and men. Kirini isi are glad. Women and men are glad. I suppose there's some committee. I heard that that Duolingo was first developed at Carnegie Mellon University in Pennsylvania, I believe. It's the extent of my knowledge on the thing. They may have moved away from them or still be there and affiliated with them. Don't know, but
Kepi munili risi.
seems like searchable stuff.
Kepi munili risi.
Munyi, the fathers. Munyi. Threshold of number of speakers, suggests Levi. You probably have to reach out to the people who make Duolingo. Yeah, for sure. The people who make Duolingo would be the people. The make.
Munyi.
That's what I forgot. Just check. Yiddish. Okay. Munyi.
Kepi.
Fathers, plural, mothers, they lirisi. They are delirious, they laugh. Or smile, was it? Smile or laugh? There it is. Smile deliriously. Smile. The girl and the boy are smiling. Boy taoba here. Taoba. And smile lirisi will be the verb. So we just need the word for girl. Rinyi. Maybe rinya. Nya. Oops. Rinya. Yeah. Rinya taoba. Conjoined noun phrase. Two singular, but together they're going to be plural. Plural verb. Lirisi. Lirisi. Taoba. Oh, interesting. Taoba. Yes, I did come here to pay attention to the accents. That's what I'm here for. Taoba is the stem, and with a long vowel for the singular. It's like Hindi. Boy. So, one downside to this notation that I'm using is it's hard to see. I just use a long or double vowel there to mark the long one. Girl and the boy are smiling. Taoba. And then lirisi too, that's long. The men and the women. Vali. No word for and. Women. Abri. Long there. We are sweating. Nagesi, I think it was. Nagesi, they sweat. Vali, men. Abri, women. Those together, the subject. Nagesi, they sweat. Okay. Let me leave you in the hands of my colleague when he was doing High Valyrian previous time. Now, C-A-N-G-J-I-E. I'll read aloud as I type to get the characters. What it does is it converts your quarter string. Oh, good. Let me just switch languages. From here, switch to okay, now there we go. 490 main happens out in the real, like an illicit first syllable of conlang. Like I say, Nyuha Munya. Love it already.
Nyuha. Munya.
My
Nyuha. Munya.
Munya.
Nyuha munya.
Come on. Nyuha Munya. Valir. H Valir for high. Nyuha Munya.
Nyuha. Nyuha munya. Abrakirineissa.
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 Is this what the city dwellers spoke? It sounds like a city language.
Abrakirineissa. Abra.
Game of Thrones. Abra, woman. Nice, okay.
Kirine.
Kirine. Nice long trill.
Abrakirineissa.
Issa is, okay. It won't be too hard.
Abrakirineissa. Issa. Kirine.
Be glad, pleased. So it could be she is a happy woman with just no subject pronoun, or a woman is happy, or the woman is happy. But we note the verb final placement there. Sentence final for the verb. See how consistent we are with this. The woman, I'll just say the woman is happy, glad. Abrakirine.
Abrakirine.
Let's do some Klingon next. Perfectly normal human sentence to say. So, there seems to be a grammatical category in Klingon that's like the quality of plus minus human in our languages, but I wouldn't want to call it human. And labeling something as Klingon isn't terribly helpful either. So I'm taking suggestions about what term to use for that. Let's do some sounds. They have this nice sort of citation form idea developed.
Nai, at, yai.
These are letter names or phoneme names, similar to what you have with Tigut, Kiyok, and so on for Hangul, where the Consonants are named by adding I, and the vowels are sided with this glottal stop T bracketing. N and A, and then Yai for Ya. The Klingon letters N-A-Y.
Hi.
I hope so. Hope it's interesting. But it's the theme of the day.
Hi.
It's the pharyngally H.
Hi.
Area beyond also. Okay. Here we mean letter H.
Rai, Rai, Kai.
Hi.
Nai, At, Yai.
La, and then A for At, Yai.
Chun.
That's clearly
Chun.
no final. Let's hear number 2 though. No sound.
Chun.
Klingon consonants R will be Rai, Chai. The Klingon letters, so GH, two of our human letters, but a single Klingon one, a T, apostrophe is a consonant, and then Yai.
Kahwit.
Ka-wit. And I think the syllable structure that the designer has in mind. So we did H vowel, and now we're doing T, L, H, Klingon. C for consonant and V for vowel. Most words conform to this type of syllable exclusively. You have a few that are like a minor syllable in front with no coda, but open ones are pretty rare. We have the name Mara. That's CV, CV. What we call open syllables, meaning no consonant closes it or ends it. Klingon syllable types here is what I'm talking about. Syllable shapes, we might say. Well, that's all caps, that's kind of ugly. Syll for syllable shapes. Kahwit is a, what's that?
Kahwit.
Consonant. Oh, that's cool. Glottal stop is the name of it. So we say it in uh-oh. It's particularly easy to perceive in the middle, unless you're a Cockney or a user of some other dialect where that's your variant of T. Glottal stop might sort of be imperceptible, hard to realize that it even is a consonant there. Oh, it's written. So, doubt we'll see this in lessons after this pronunciation one, but it's nice that they've made up a word, a two-syllable one for the glottal stop. We'll just enter the shortest answer ever.
Kai. At. Yai.
Capital Q is slowly released uvular stop with a scratchy sort of after effect.
Chai.
Is the consonant TLH, 3 letters, single sound.
Hi. Ot. Lie.
This one's for the vowel O, and then whole is the word language.
Et.
What's this? TLH.
Et.
Okay, the letters Q is going to be Chi, At for A, P, Pi, Lie, At, and the thing. Help me out. What was the name for the glottal stop? It's not underlined. Oh, wait, we've got a word bank. Rescue.
Pi.
Pi.
At.
First vowel, pa.
Pi. Lie. At.
Kahwit.
Kahwit.
Kahwit. Klingon letters J, A, Jai,
Jai. shy.
Opening up new topics for us. Hooray. Wordlies. Hey. Hold the jet. I think they're da. It's been a while since I reviewed it, but is that do you speak Klingon with a question mark? Yeah, do you speak Klingon? We did a little bit of that in the link camp. Yeah, that was my first sort of putting it under the microscope of the Klingon language. I did watch quite a bit of Star Trek when I was in high school. I heard it there, but wasn't enthused enough to actually learn the language. But I thought it was cool that they had a grammar and a dictionary published. My brother picked it up once, I remember, when we were teens. The idea of a conlang always appealed to me, but learning it since that conlang camp, yeah, it's been a bit of success, such as it is. Let's see what I remember. So,
Load. Pook.
man, load.
Lord.
Duh, with a curled tongue.
Yit torg.
So Torg is the name, and yit is an unprefixed verb, meaning he goes or walks.
Yit.
Torg walks. Men. So the plural suffix is that pu. Here was where the question arose. Lord pu. I don't think we see pu on nouns for inanimate objects, so it's like it's a human pluralizer, except Klingons are not humans. What do you call it? The women. Be pu with the same suffix.
Bet poop.
So two syllables, both ending in glottal stop.
Load. Lord poop. Bet poop.
Be pu, keeping the vowel short. See that? I don't really have one. My own conlang. Memorized. Yeah, if I had. Children. What's the one for child? It's going to have poop on it, and then will walk would just be. Now it's going to have a prefix to show plural. Yit. Yit. Oh, and of course, no. All right. No marker for person on that. Puk. P-U-Q. The little pukes is the little children. Verb first. Yit. Puk. Puk. Mara sleeps. Name the subject last. Mara sleeps. This third singular form. Kol. The scratchy one. Capital letter Q. O-N-G. Kolma.
Torg. Biket.
Bit for second person on an intransitive. You run, I think.
Biket.
Ran, run, or will.
Biket.
No marking for tense. Torg, you ran. You ran. Makes a bit more sense.
Klingon. Jeshup.
Klingon. J marking. What is J?
Jeshup.
Like je in French. Subject I. Jeshup. I.
Jeshup.
Klingon. Oh, Klingon. I jump.
Jit.
Jit. I walk.
Bishoop.
B-U. And the capital S is that curled tongue. Sh. Bishop. Jump, was it? You jump?
Bishop.
Billet, edge, jacket.
Billet, you walk. Edge and jacket, I run. I run and I jump. I do it is j, capital I. Jet, jacket, edge, and I jump. Intransitive is going to be j, and the jumping root is shup. Jacket, edge, jishup. I will run and you will walk. It's going to just be 3 words. We're going to ignore the will part as we're translating. And the running is intransitive jacket. I run. Edge. There it is. Struggling here with the keyboard. You walk. You prefix bit. Walk yit. Be yit.
Maquette.
Cat, mas, you plural, I think? Or is it? No, it's we.
Maquette.
We run. Or we ran.
Mashup.
Shoop, we jump.
Maquette. Edge, mashup.
We run, edge, and mashup, we jump. Okay, the meaning that it should be... Oh, I'm supposed to put Klingon in. Alright. Silly me.
Shushup.
Ooh, that's the you, plural. You jump.
Shuket.
You run. We run and we jump. Ma, ket, edge, mashup. There it is, 2. You ran. You plural, I think. Gonna be shuket, edge, shushup.
Maquette. Edge, mashup.
Ket, ed. Oh, silly. Hit the enter too soon.
Maquette. Edge, mashup.
Ket. We ran, edge. And that apostrophe is indeed on the edge of hitting the enter.
Maquette. Edge, mashup.
Mashup. Capital for the curled tongue. Sh shape. Alright, let's introduce our third conlang on this platform. Duolingo, which is Esperanto. Constructed of patches of European languages, Slavic, Germanic, Romance, some Latin more directly too. That's not right. Looks like yeah, well, looks like this is, no, it's weird. I don't remember being gold here on Esperanto. Let's see. I don't mind. Oh, because I tested out. I took that placement test, yeah. That would take a long time to climb up all of those there. Okay, but it's got some things I didn't quite nail, it looks like. Or it's just wanting me to review randomly. Either way, I'll do it.
Adamo quizás la virinon.
Adamo quizás la virinon. O
Adamo.
This is a noun. Adam, subject. Quizás, think to kiss, and as at the end tells me present tense. La virinon. La is the article, and a tells me it's not the final word in a noun phrase, but pointing rightward, so to speak, toward virinon, the woman. Kisses the woman. So, in.
Virinon.
Suffix on vir is the feminizing suffix.
La virinoi legas la ĵurnalon. La virinoi legas la ĵurnalon.
Virinoi, oiv is plural. So plural noun. Legas.
La virinoi legas la ĵurnalon.
Legas. La And then jur, I think, is going to be with this J. Nalon, N for the object form, accusative. Women are reading the newspaper. So just a single word for the, like English. None of the nightmare that you have when learning German of 36 or whatever logically possible words for the that you have to memorize.
Sofia ŝatas ĵurnalojn.
I'm exaggerating, but just a little.
Sofia ŝatas ĵurnalojn.
Shatas, I think, is like appreciates or likes.
Ŝatas.
Schätzen is my mnemonic for this German verb for appreciate something. To treasure. So Sophia likes. And this noun, I only need to look at the ending. It's got all the grammar that you need and only a single, what we call exponent, only a single form for each grammatical marker.
Ĵurnalojn.
In the ending of a word like this, O tells me it's a noun, J tells me it's plural, and
Ĵurnalojn.
it's an object of a verb, like newspapers.
Li kaj ŝi legas ĵurnalon.
Li kai she. Not that one. Legas ĵurnalon.
Li kaj ŝi legas ĵurnalon.
I think it's he and she conjoined. Legas, read, present. Object form, newspaper. Ĵurnalon. He and she read a newspaper. Clunky English sentence.
Mi manĝas bongustan ĉokoladon.
Looks like
Bongustan.
the name of a pretty cool
Bongustan.
country, Bongustan, but it's a compound of
Bongustan.
bon from Latin for good and gust, the stem meaning taste. A tells me this is an adjective, and N, it's part of the object noun phrase. Mi manjas,
Manĝas.
I eat. This is quite odd, I think, for a European language to have a, well, Irish does too, but me in a subject form. Unusual for Indo-European. It's usually going to be a descendant of the ego word. What am I talking about? You might ask. Esp. This is what I'm saying here, this ego reconstruction, something like that. Here, using the dots for length, is the source of the word I. In Old English it was ich, in German it's ich, in Latin it's ego, in Greek also, same shape, French je, Russian ya, Spanish yo, are all descended from this pronoun in the ancestral language. Me comes from the object form of that, which was me. Or eme, could have first syllable added there too. So we eat good tasting chocolate, and that's singular because there's no J there. Chocoladon. I eat tasty chocolate, I will say, for brevity. Delicious chocolate. Milk, lacto, because it's a noun. Aquo, water. So there's no gender, not grammatical gender like Latin and Spanish and so on. Aqua, feminine. But just noun versus adjective is what that vowel distinction marks. Lacto. He drinks milk. Li trinkas. So this stem from German, the T narrows the options there. Most of the other Germanic languages have a D there, like we do, drinks. Ili trinkas, because present. There's no inflection for person or number. Just a single ending for a tense. So which is how the Scandinavian languages do it too, very elegantly. Lacton, what was it? Lacton here. So think of lactose, milk, sugar, and kai, which is from Greek. Trink, kai she, pronoun, feminine. Trinkas akvon, V-O-N. Li trinkas lacton, kai she trinkas akvon.
Ĉu vi amas ŝin aŭ lin?
Chu for a yes-no question. It also has another meaning, which escapes me, but we learned yesterday, last time. Chu V. V, I think, is you plural,
Vi.
which is confusing. I think of we, but it's not that one. Do you plural amas love? Just like the thou lovest form of Latin, but general present tense. Do you love? Shin au lin. Okay, based on those pronouns, the object forms. Her, au or, lin him.
Li amas virinon.
Irinon. He loves the woman.
Li trinkas lacton, kai ŝi trinkas akvon.
Wonderfully simply constructed. Li trinkas lacton. He drinks milk. Kai ŝi trinkas akvon. And she water. He drinks.
Li amas ŝin, kaj ŝi kisas lin.
Amas. Oh la la. Amas shin. He loves her. Kai
Li amas ŝin, kaj ŝi kisas lin.
kisas lin. Don't want to corrupt our youth, so I'm going to leave it untranslated.
La virino trinkas kafon kai akvon.
La virino, the woman. Subject. Trinkas, drinks. Kafon. Kai and akvon, water. So if you know a smattering of European languages, you can recognize and hold on to this vocab of Esperanto quite easily. It's a lot of fun. Grammar is in some points very,
Trinkas.
very interestingly different from most languages that you learn in Europe.
La virino kisas la viron.
Languages from Europe, European languages.
La virino kisas la viron.
Virino, woman. Kisas, present. La virinon.
La virino kisas la viron.
Viron. The man, object. Viron. And this noun stem is from Latin. It's a word spelled just like that, which is the source of our word virile. Related to the first part of werewolf. Who loves him? Kion, kiyu. Amas. Him would amas. Loves him is going to be lin. L-I-N. Kiyu amas lin.
Viro kisas virinon.
Viro, man subject. Kisas, present. Vir is the same stem, and now adding in gives us the feminine correspondent, the woman. On for the object form singular. Keeps. Now to turn our attention to Esperanto. After a noun stem or an adjective, you've got, okay, so you have your stem in a word, noun or adjective, that ends at some point. After that, you can have either noun, adjective, a marker that tells you which of those two things it is, plural or singular. And then you have a bit that tells you whether it's object, subject, object. It's not too clear. But anyway, so SGPL, SBJ subject, OBJ object. And what those pieces are, noun or adjective is O for a noun, A for an adjective. Nothing for a singular, and in the plural it's ya. And for the subject marker, that's if there's nothing. And if it's an object form, there's an N. So this one's got to be there. These guys are optional. Well, which is just another way of saying one of the things in that slot is 0. As the present tense suffix throughout, yeah. If you see anything else at the end of a verb, it's something else, something different in meaning. He loves her. Li, subject, no suffix. After the stem li, amas. Shin. this. Yeah. Noun or adjective is what that means. Amas. Shin kai. Shi kisas lin.
Ni manĝas panon en la kafejo. Ni manĝas panon en la kafejo.
Just panon bread. Eat bread. En la cafeyon. In la cafejo.
Ni manĝas panon en la kafejo.
Cafejo with no object marker, which to me just feels really odd. It's the object of a preposition, but no object marking suffix there. Only on the direct object of a verb so far. Ni is that you plural or this is the one for we. We eat bread in the cafe. So not the Chinese ni, but we. Ni is we and vi is ye. The milk is bad. Lacto estas malbona, I will say. Bad good. La lacto estas malbona. So this is a real paradoxical looking thing from the Latin point of view. Bad good is what this compound would mean. Super good is what it sounds like. Well bad. La lacto est, the rest is correct. Sophia, subject. Amas, journaloin. Journaloin, plural object. JN. Shatas. She love them, she likes them. He and she read a newspaper. Li kai shi. Legas. Journalon. Milk is bad. La lacto estas malbona. Still an adjective, even though it's separated from the noun. It agrees with it. I mean, it does not agree with it. Pardon me, but still is its own adjective and doesn't become a noun just because there's no noun there with it. Stays adjective there. Sophia likes newspapers. Shatas. Sophia shatas. Journaloin. Special J here. Journaloin. So you probably recognized a few of the nouns, verbs, adjectives. English, being itself a European language, has a long history of contact and influence in all directions with those languages. Well, let's learn something new here.
Mi kaptos tiun insekton.
Capture, I would guess. And future os ending here. Mi is I. Will catch. Mi kaptos. So a really participial looking stem there, but just a plain verb meaning here. Tiun. That singular insect. I will catch that insect. Kaptos. By the way, kaptos. Oh, it's already. Never mind. Not interesting. Mi kaptos tiun.
Pluvas, do la strato compreneble estas malseka.
Pluvas, no subject there, just it's raining. Present. Do la strato, the street. This is probably a preposition. Compreneble. So the street comprehensible? Oh, logically, like, of course, yeah, understandably, is malseca. So this mal, as in malbona, turns what it does is it turns the meaning of a thing in the opposite direction. Turns good into bad, seca dry into mal seca meaning wet. It's raining. So understandably, the streets are wet. So of course the street is wet. Of course. I think mine is pretty good though too.
Mi helpos vin farti pli bone.
Mi helpos vin farti pli bone. This is the verb of going. And the E suffix infinitive, farti. Helpos, I will help vin you to go.
Farti.
To feel.
Bone.
Pli, like French, pli bone.
Bone.
Pli bone, better. I will help you to feel better. So this goes back to what we saw in the little warm-up session in Chinese. This is a pivot. I will help you. What case is it? It's my object, but then it's logically the subject of the following.
Bone.
To feel the action of feeling better, or that state, is going to be achieved by the subject V, which is in this outer clause frame, the object of the verb. I, in English, has here with the pronoun you the same soundingness as the Chinese situation. I will help. What I mean by that is our pronoun you is used for both subjects and objects. I will help you to feel better. Pli bone, more well.
Ĉu vi bezonas memori pasvorton?
Bezonas, I recognize the French besoin, which is the need of a thing. Do you need memori to remember? Pasvorton. This Wort is clearly from the German. Again, the T is the giveaway that it's not from any other Germanic language. Do you need bezonas? How cool. Do you need to remember remember? Singular, the password. Or a password. Alright, there's la. It's gotta be
Mia brakhorlogio funkcias, sed ne precize.
Brakhorlogio. Let's go with the KH there. Funkcias and the KC. Pretty cool looking words. C is it? Right?
Mia brakhorlogio funkcias, sed ne precize.
C is the affricate as in Slavic languages. C. So we've got funkcias. You can count that as 4 consonants together there. And here again in precise. So this is brak from the Romance word for the arm. And then horlogio, the Greek hour counter. My arm clock, my watch. And the mia, the possessive one, has the adjective deriving suffix on it. Not I watch, but my watch. Mia. Functias, I'm going to say works. Sed, the Latin for but. Ne precise, and the adverb ending e here, but not exactly. So also this ne particle and the ending e are taken directly from Latin. Precise. Sound is probably closer to the French model. Maybe Polish borrowed it this way too.
Dum 3 tagoj mi ne fartis bone.
Fartis, past marked. Dum 3 tagoj, during 3 days. Mi ne fartis, the ne right before the verb.
Ne.
I didn't feel well. Wow, well.
Estos bele, kiam li revenos de la vilaĝo.
Revenos, that's the future. Estos, also future. Belle, it will be beautifully. It will be beautifully. Kiam, because. When. He comes back from the village. Will be beautiful. adverb form here, though. When he returns de la villaggio. From the
Kian fiŝon via onklo kaptis?
Kian. Singular object. Which fish? Yeah, what kind of fish? Fishon, singular object. Keep this scheme in mind. Here's the markers that I'm highlighting. O or a in the first position after the stem. Nothing or a ya in the second. Nothing or an n in the third. And the J for plural. Put that in caps. That's what the thing there marks. This n marks object. And the OA tells you just its grammatical category. What kind of fish? Onclo, via onclo.
Via.
Not our, but your uncle. And we need the helping verb in English. What kind of fish did? Captis is the past form. Did your uncle catch? What kind of fish did your uncle catch? Kian fishon. Object, noun, phrase. Unusually at the front here. Via onclo. Together, a noun phrase for the subject. Captis. Did catch in the past.
Mi baldaŭ ricevos monon de miaj gepatroj.
Baldau. Oh, soon. German bald. I soon ricevos will receive monon object. Money.
Monon.
De miai. Let's just do that part. I soon will. I will soon. Let's put soon first. I will receive monon money. De miai gepatroi. I love this word. So here the
Miai.
possessive and it's plural.
Gepatroi.
The Latin root patre and the German collectivizing prefix ge. So my parents. From my parents. Gepatroi. We will eat lunch soon. Ni baldaŭ tagmanĝos. Tag from German day, mange from French manger, or maybe from Catalan. Sometimes that train does not arrive on time. Foyer, like French fois, foyer. Ilo tiu traino. Tiu. That's interesting. Different ending here. Traino for the noun. Does not arrive on time. So this is going to be just present. Ne arrivas, I'm going to guess. Alvenas. Oh, on time. Accurate. Lovely. Accurate. Quelquefoyer. That's wonderful. German, French rather. Quelquefois. Quelquefoyer. That's great. Quelquefoyer. And here's the French word that it comes from. Quelquefois. Sometimes. Silent S. This fois is same as Spanish. Ves rather.
Do precize kiam?
Do. You too. Do, so exactly when. So when exactly? I will soon receive money, monon, from my parents. Baldaŭ ricevos. Mi baldaŭ ricevos monon de miaj gepatroj.
Mi baldaŭ ricevos monon de miaj gepatroj.
Da and is modified u.
Mi baldaŭ ricevos monon de miaj gepatroj.
Ricevos monon de miaj gepatroj, from my parents. It will be beautiful when he comes back from the village. The only one with villaggio at the end. Was she feeling well yesterday? Hiero. for yesterday. Chu, she is a good beginning. True for the yes, no question. Number 2. So, what did you need? Bezonas? Yeah. And then past, bezonis. So was do, kion vi bezonis. The word order is interesting there. So, it's kind of outside the core syntax. Kion, what object form? Vi, subject, what you needed. It is beautiful to sit in the garden in the afternoon. Estas bella sidi, infinitive, en la possedi, en la postagmezzo. Postagmezzo. This too looks like a good candidate. En la possedi, in the garden is weird though. En la giardeno estas belle, fermas. Estas belle, sidi postagmeze en la giardeno. Just a different word order there. Okay. Makes sense? Do you need to remember memori pasvorton? And do you need ĉu vi bezonas? This one again from besoin, a French noun, for need of a thing. I will capture captos rather. Mi captos tion in. So exactly when. Precises. Do precise kiam when.
Pluvas, do la strato compreneble estas malseka.
It's raining, so the street. So of course the street is wet. Present. So of course the street is wet. No, not there. Oh, bisogno also. Well, the letter E there might be closer to French, but good point, yeah. I haven't seen much that struck me as explicitly Italian so far in Duolingo.
Ĉu vi bezonas memori pasvorton?
Ĉu vi, not we, but you,
Vi.
plural, do you need to remember the password?
Ĉu vi bezonas memori pasvorton?
Bezonas memori passvorton, a password. Do vi is you. Do you need to remember a indefinite password? Some besones. Bisogno. Alright. Back to Westeros, or wherever this is spoken.
Issa kirine ixan.
Okay, verb last. The ixan is third plural. They are Kirina, glad. And Issa is third plural to be, but I guess here, yes. Kirin, they are glad. Wait. Ixan, we are glad. Ixan, I am. Ixan, Ixa, Ixa. Issa. Ixi, Ixat, Issi. Alright. Double S for third person.
Issa.
Yes or is, same word, just like Chinese, and really Korean too. To be so is also the verb to be.
Issa ixan.
Ixan, I am glad. Yes, I am glad.
Biarvose azantis.
Biarvose.
Biarvose.
Cool. Biarvose. Gotta remember those useful bits, especially. Biarvose. You're welcome. So it probably has one or two, or two or three, I mean, meaningful parts to it. Azantis.
Azantis.
The knight. You're welcome, knight.
Biarvose.
Azantus.
Ritsas. Azantis ixan.
Ritsas.
Ritsas.
Hello. Ritsas. Hello. Ixan. That's I am. I am a knight. Azantus ixan. I am a knight.
Giorna. Giorna.
Welcome, Giorna.
Daor. Kepanyuha edrus.
Kepa, father.
Kepa.
Nuha.
Nuha. Edrus.
Alright, so here noun first. Father my is sleeping. Edrus. We have that. Yeah, edrusi, and here singular. He sleeps. Edrus. X sleeps. Kepanuha, my, yeah, this one is.
Daor.
No. My father is asleep. Hello. Not you're welcome, but welcome. Okay. Ritsas giorna. Ritsas giorna. Thank you. And you're welcome, Biarvose. Kirimvose. Alright. Some repeated bits here. And ya se. Kirimvose. Kirimvose se Biarvose. Should probably trill those R's longer. Let's do some Klingon again.
Bivum.
B is a prefix. Second person. You, vum,
Bivum.
work. Vum, work.
J-in.
J-I. Yin is go, right? I live.
Jiyin. Jikrong.
Hong, I think, was sleep. I sleep.
Biyin.
Yin. You exist. You live.
Biyin.
Being alive. Okay, there's a mnemonic. Human being. And that verb means second person singular, prefix, intransitive. Yin, live.
Jekong.
The Klingon died. We're going to put the verb first. It's no prefix for third person. Hegh. H-E-G-H. And then the Klingon is just T-L-H. Capital I-N-G-A-N. You will work. It was vom. Vum. And bit is the prefix. Bivum mara.
Tinbeoch. Tinbe. Och.
Is. So, note that it means both it and is. Tin bet.
Tin bet.
Big knot. Yeah, tin big. A big tin. And bet, the negative suffix, it is not big.
Jmatch.
J, the I prefix.
Jmatch.
I am small.
Rouge.
Luge.
Rouge.
Ship, probably a starship.
Yin Dooge.
The ship goes.
Ma'ich.
Ma'ich. Ma is the we prefix. What's the verb? I don't recognize. Ich are beautiful.
Ma'ich.
We are beautiful. A ship. Was it Kud? Duj. Something. D-U-J. D curled. Duj. Edge. Building. Hutch. Well. Alright, if you want it that way. Maybe there's different ands for like noun and noun versus clause and clause. Is that what's up? It is not big. Tin is big. Tin bet. And then for it, we could say oh. Tin bet oh. A ship. Dooge. In a building. Hutch. Edgy.
Val Torg Mara Je.
Val is a verb.
Val.
Conjoined subject. Torg and Mara are smart.
Ich bet torg.
Ich. Is that the word for beautiful? Torg is not beautiful.
Yajmara. Ach yaj bet torg.
Is that but?
Ach.
Is that also Irish for but, Levi? ACH. But. So a nice parallelism of Irish and Klingon, whether intentional or not. Kind of thing is common. The words happen to resemble each other. Mara understands and Torg does not understand. So no prefix when the subject is third person. But Ach rather. Bert Torg does not understand.
Koop Edge Kip.
Hope. These are verbs. He is
Kip.
He is stupid. He is young and stupid. Okay. When we connect hope with young coop like a chicken coop, young chicken, and keep it stupid.
Yaj Mara. Ach Yaj Bet Torg.
Yaj Be does not understand. Torg. So Torg is special because we have a cluster in that one. Otherwise not preferred in Klingon syllables, it seems. The building is not beautiful. Hutch. Ich bet. Oh, wrong order. First, the verby part. Ich bet, and the subject last. He is young and stupid. I think we don't need a word for he, just young. Hope. Edge. Stupid. The building is not beautiful. So first the verb. Ich. Bet. Careful there. Building is not beautiful. Ich bet. And then building Hutch. Okay, getting into the 900s here. Whew. Hats off to Jennifer.
Mau a klingan po Robert.
Mau a. Klingon po, suffix plural, are the king. Klingons, crazy. Robert.
Robert.
No. And bet is the negative suffix.
Begrip a. Robert. Jeval.
Begrip a. You stupid question? Are you stupid? This a is quite a common thing in across many languages, families that I've seen, that you have a particle to signal a question. Robert is no. I val. I am smart. I determined that with my own brain.
Shuval a. Chishlach maval.
Shu, you plural. Are you smart? Chishlach. Certainly, yes.
Geslach.
Ma, we. Maval. We are smart. Are you stupid? Kip. Is there a shu kip a? Oh, bit. Singular. Stupid. Bit kip a. No is Robert. Bit kip a. Robert Jeval.
Shuval a. Geslach. Maval.
Ishlach. Maval. Ismar crazy. Mau. Double. No. Mara. Robert. Smart. It's just vowel. No prefix. Are you smart? Say singular. You. Beval. Yes. Hishlach. We. Maval. Shu. Okay, fine. Oh, because we should have known it was plural. Shuval. Are you smart? Shuval. Hishlach. We. Maval. We are smart.
Drivos en Hamunia edrus.
Edrus was the verb of sleeping. Oh dear. Nyuha Munya, my mother.
Nyuha Munya edrus. Drivose.
Drivose, my Nyuha Munya, my mother. Edrus, singular ending, is sleeping. Sleeping.
Rytsas valar morgulis.
Rytsas, I think it was thanks.
Rytsas.
Valar morgulis.
Valar.
So, is
Morgulis.
the plural verb ending. No, not si, but is here. Morgulis is nice for the die verb.
Valar.
Valar got the val stem, and this ar might signal that it's all, so an exhaustive plural or something like that. Hello, all men must die. Pretty kick butt sentence there.
Kirimvose. Valar dohairis.
Kirimvose valar dohairis.
Kirimvose.
All men again. Thank you, all men.
Kirimvose.
And the plural verb
Dohairis.
serve. That's like doulos in Greek a little bit. For servant.
Issa. Costilus.
Issa here, yes.
Costilus.
Costilus, please.
Kirimvose se gerrosilas.
Gerrosilas. I think I'll end it here. Thanks for watching.